has been a bit of worry for us over the last couple of years. Every time it rains, as much of a blessing as the rain should be for most people in Accra, it does become a problem. Anyonam, thank you for joining us. Um, I'm supposed to wave you, isn't it? It says to wave. Okay, I'm just gonna wave. But no, for most people, the rains become a problem, and there's been talk over and over again as to why over the years we've not been able to do drainages to the levels that we do want to. And interestingly, when some of us started talking about these things, it was seen as political propaganda, but it is what it is. Professor John, I salute you, sir. How is Chelsea doing? Hope you're doing well, sir. My bounty respects to you. Bounty respects to you. Anyway, so today, uh, today in particular, I'm only just. Good evening, Mr. Thomas Abeku. Uh, Mr. Abeku, it's been a while, so thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here. Everybody else for being here. Turn down the volume of this thing. Uh, so yes, it's been an interesting phenomenon that on one occasion we worry about the rain, even though it's supposed to be a blessing. But it's not just the rain; it's everything that comes with the rain. It's the inconvenience, the traffic. It's the non-motorability of the roads. Is the fact that people, in some cases, people lose their lives. Constantly, people lose property. Um, over the coming of the rains, and so there's many things that unfortunately the rains um, have done for us as a country. Sadly, just a few weeks ago we were. Mr. John, are you sure? Henry, thank you for joining us. Mr. Henry also, thank you very much. I think we've tried that. Uh, and Junior, thank you for joining us as well. But I just wanted to say, it's interesting we're experiencing the rains in Accra because Tony, welcome. Because a couple of weeks back, the northern sector of this country was experiencing the same thing, and we saw really devastating photos and images and videos of how people were having difficulty. In fact, my own team had quite a lot of difficulty because around the same time, if you remember, we were going around the country collating our nomination form or getting people to sign up on our nomination form to sort of endorse us. And my team had a lot of problems crossing some of the roads, and in some cases hugely immotorable. They had to cross by foot. Some were lucky; we had motorbikes that could carry them over. So it's interesting that this has come back to Accra, and it's being a cycle upon cycle upon cycle. And these are not things that just happen once in a while. We call them an emergency. And I've often said that if you have an emergency that happens every single year and you don't do anything about it, it ceases to be an emergency. It really ceases to be an emergency. That becomes negligence, because we really can't be seeing. And I'm hoping that at some point we're gonna have some organization be able to do an assessment of the cost. And I think this has been done before, where it came point something billion or something, but I'm not sure how far away that was. But it'd be good to have an assessment done of the cost to us as a country of the rains when they're setting at this time, or even earlier in the year when they do happen. to this country. And I'm not talking about just the damages to goods and property. I'm also talking about the times that are wasted. I'm talking about the roads that go terribly bad and the reconstruction cost of those. I'm talking about the loss in tourism that happens as a result. Maybe, of course, now there is Corona, so that might not be a big issue. But subsequently, at some point, we cannot continue like this. We really continue like this to our own detriment. Louise, thank you very much for joining. Is it Louise? Is that a okay, Louise? I can help solve the flood problem in Ghana. Okay, that'll be exciting. It'll be good to hear from you. Do send me something if you wish. My drop me an inbox and let me know what you think needs to be done. We have a few proposals on our hands. We do think that a very how do I put it? A very a very detailed planning needs to be done for our drainage system. A very comprehensive drainage system needs to be planned. There was one plan during Nkrumah's time. Obviously, Ghana has evolved from that point, and so we do need to have a very comprehensive drainage plan done and implemented. Not just planning for the drainage, but it does need to have some really authentically planned and very detailed drainage system in place for both Accra, Kumasi, not only Accra and Kumasi, but at least some of our big regions. Who also stand a chance of being expansive where tourism is concerned. Luis Addo, there are lots of us here in Europe and the rest of the world. Nobody looks at us or experiences we have to help. Well, Luis, that is exactly the problem we are trying to solve, which is to remove the process where people are brought to sort of help and work, not because they know how, but largely because they have either made the most noise during campaign or they have given the most money during campaign. We are trying to do this in a manner that is very meritocratic. We are trying to do this in a manner that is hugely meritocratic so that people who know, people who are capable are the people we are bringing on board to come and help. So that positions are not being, and I understand, I have come from the diaspora as well, Louise, and that is a problem we face, is that you are not appreciated because of your capabilities. You are appreciated because of the money you bring to a campaign, or you are appreciated because of the biggest noise you are able to make during campaign. And hopefully that is not the case this December, and that Ghanaians will be smart enough to vote people who care about this country enough to want to do something about it. And that is what I and the team are projecting to Ghanaians. But today I really wanted to just talk about Nana. Thank you for joining us. Dufie, thank you for joining us. I hope I'm pronouncing the names all right. But today I wanted to talk about largely the experiences leading up to the filing of the nominations. And first of all, I think there is a huge misconception that I want to correct to those who are supporting us, is that this thing is not just the nomination fees that go into this process. There's quite a lot of work goes into this process, and I'm just sharing this for those of you who want to run in the future. Quite a phenomenal amount of work goes into this process. So just be ready to be very hardworking. Be ready to go on the field. And be ready to push yourself to the limits, because an awful lot of work goes into this, especially so when we are running as independents. But we signed up to this because we were ready to do the hard work, and therefore, so it started with the whole increment in the nomination fees. which obviously meant that we've had to fundraise double rate than we originally planned to. But nevertheless, Ghanaians, as we've always believed in, stepped up to the plate. People stepped up. People contributed in drives and droves. It started coming in little drips and drops. We thought we could never make it, but indeed it happened. And for me, again, this is proof that people do believe in this agenda and are willing to push it to its very end and ensure that it truly does happen. I was asked on a program today, am I not wasting money? And I said, you know what? At the end of the day, let's remember that what we are doing has gotten a lot of people to take a second decision. Most people, when I used to talk to them earlier, used to say, oh, I don't want to vote. Oh, Charlie, this year, dear, I don't see what the NDC and MPP are doing. So the voting there, Yawakra, I no go vote. It'd be waste of time. But Charlie, at the end of the day, people have seen a reason now to vote. There are people who had to actually go through this final phase of registration to get their voters, because now we've given them a reason to go out there and exercise their franchise. There were people who had voters ID cards in the past who decided they weren't going to vote. They just needed a voter ID card for identification purposes, but now are bent on ensuring that they go out there and vote. And so it's not a waste of time. It's not a waste of effort for anybody to do what we're doing. And let me just say also that we didn't start this because the odds were in our favor. We didn't start this because the statistics said that, it will be very rosy, go ahead and do it. We did it. We started this whole agenda. We did it because it needed to get done. We did it because we needed to shift away from the status quo. We did it because things were not going well. And we could not stand on the fence anymore and pretend that thank God for my beautiful tree. But if we don't step up to the plate, if we don't get off the fence, we can't pretend that it's suddenly magically gonna just happen. And so what we're doing is largely a call to action to every single one of us to say, what, we need to bind together and push this agenda forward. A lot of you are professionals. Please, in whatever way you can, help the process. Throw your weight behind. Let's make something beautiful happen. We're in the process of making history, and we can make history. All right. But back to the filing process. So, there was a whole thing about the filing fees being increased for the presidential candidate, but not for the parliamentary candidate. We went through all that phase, and then there was a release of the forms for the nomination, and very immediately we took on that and started running aground. The lucky thing for us was we obviously saw the process coming. It was always going to happen anyway. So we started sending word around to our followership, people who believed in what we're doing, asking, those who would like to be the ones to nominate me to be on the ballot, which, if this is a huge thing, to be the one who chose Mr. Gan to be on the ballot. And so a lot of people stepped up to the plate. And so kindly we built a whole database of people who were already willing before the forms were released to the public or to the aspirants. And for that, I want to thank all those who put themselves forward to nominate, people who put themselves forward to endorse, and who eventually, some of you even went as far as bringing your entire families to endorse. And in some cases, even though we wanted just 2 names to endorse, people brought like 5 names, 6 names, 7 names. And it was really heartwarming. It really was heartwarming. And so it's a beautiful thing to know that, we are not alone in this agenda, and there are people who actually, whole heart, spirit, soul, and body, want this agenda to work, and we're grateful for that. We deeply are grateful, not because this is about us, but we're grateful because you're doing it for posterity, and for that, we want to say a big thank you to all those who originally put out their names. Almost everybody who put forth their names to endorse eventually did endorse. Almost every one of you actually brought in extra people. So we actually ended up, even instead of giving 2 names each for the district, we ended up giving more than 2 names in some cases. So we're grateful for that. It was just heartwarming. It was really, really heartwarming to see people come out in their numbers, and some village folks who were hearing about us. Some of them for the first time were like, "Yeah, let's do this." Your brand is in the people, and yeah, damasi bebre say you came out in your numbers to come and help us, but. I think it is crucial to understand some of the processes, also for civic education purposes, because who knows, there may be somebody out there who eventually may be in the position I am in, trying to run for office and all that. And it's good to share some of these experiences with you all. There definitely was the whole issue about the money part, which was increased, sadly the case. I felt at the time that there were ways to ensure that not barriers, but criteria were set to ensure that only the best evolved into the contest process, but not necessarily only those who had money. I agreed that the ability to mobilize was necessary, but it shouldn't have been just money if we were really looking at ensuring that only the best got the opportunity to run at this level. And those are conversations that will continue way beyond past 2020. And conversation I would always be happy to be a part of. Musa Khalid, thank you, Prof. Thank you for joining us. And Asabia, is that Sabia? All right, well, I can't see the name properly, but thank you for joining us. So apart from that process, there were other things that actually had to go into the process. There was obviously the what is it called, the statutory declaration, where you had to declare some things, that you're a citizen, that you're 40 years old, that you are not in trouble with the law, that you actually come from a constituency, and all that, and then that gets done by a commissioner of oaths or before a judge, like that. And then you had to go through the whole process of ensuring that you got your tax clearance certificates. Kpenya Moses, I've mentioned your name. Priscilla Sewakoto, thank you for joining us. Mr. Moses, I make you no boy, I beg. I mentioned your name, so take am chill. And so, for those of you who are intending to do this, make sure you keep your records. Make sure. It was quite an interesting process, because me being I'm quite analytical. One of the questions I was asking was, how about Ghanaians who were here in Ghana but doing a lot of work internationally, albeit they were resident in Ghana, and what if there were circumstances where we had double tax arrangement with those countries, and that you were paying your taxes in those countries and not necessarily in Ghana, because the income was being earned from there, and usually incomes get taxed as source. So these are, I feel that these are conversations that in the future needs to be had. Because they might just as well stop others from going forward in some of these processes, when in fact they shouldn't. So it's been a whole experience. And then, of course, the day of the filing, it's quite interesting. Some candidates go there with a truckload of buses. I don't know why, but they go there with a truckload of buses. with a lot of noise and all that and all that. But people have different ways they want to do politics. I respect that. But I must say that our attendance at the EC was very, very cordial, very, very cordial. So we were received to meet with the committee first, and then after that, I think it was Dr. Sribo who came and took us upstairs to meet with the Madam Chairperson Jim Mensah and her deputies. And so she made a short speech welcoming us into her home. We made a responding speech thanking her for welcoming us. And then, of course, she asked for the presentation of the of our documents, which we presented in threefold. One was the actual forms. The second was the particulars, parent certificates, photos, and what do we call them? And declarations. And then, of course, noise no they win votes. And then, of course, the draft for the amount that was required of us. And then after that, she thanked us for coming. We also thanked her for accepting our nominations, and hopefully that the process would be fair, clean, and transparent enough to ensure that we move forward in the manner that we should. And then after that, we were escorted out nicely, and very, 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 decent, very simple ceremony. But let me just make clear because we've had questions as to whether that means everything. Well, the process largely is that after you submit, the AC has two units that go into the process. One is the technical unit, one is the IT. The technical unit have been made to understand by Madam Chairperson that they are responsible for ensuring that all the particulars that are required of you, the criteria, whether you're 40 years, whether you are indeed a voter, all those, as a candidate would get checked. And once that process is over, the IT team will check the forms that have been submitted to ensure that everybody is indeed a registered voter and whatnot have you. And so hopefully this week, we are expecting the EC to come out with its results. I have been told that 17 candidates have filed their nominations to, and every time I hear that number, I just multiply it by 100,000. I just multiply it by 100,000 Ghana cedis. So I'm told 17 persons have filed their nominations for candidacy. And so hopefully this week, the EC will be announcing the results of and the outcomes of the, what do we call it, of the review. And then, of course, there will be the process where I believe there's going to be a ballot of where each person gets represented on the ballot, whether you are number 1, number 2, or number 3, and all that. So, and so that's largely been the experience. And that's just what I wanted to share today, in case there are people out there thinking about running for office. And I do think that if you are capable, you've gained some experience working and managing, and that you are in a position to lead, that you should. There should be no reason why you should not, if you can, and if you are capable, and if you're qualified to. I think the more decent people, the more capable people, the more qualified professionals that go into this process, the better it will be for all of us going forward as a country. Then we can have more people with the capabilities that this country needs, with the professionalism that this country needs, being in positions to exercise those professionalisms. So I do think that if you're out there and you're capable, I encourage you to actually consider, in the next round of elections to do what you need to do. I mean, at the end of the day, it's for Mother Ghana. I think for some of you who know that you are very and more than capable, and there are some of you on Facebook who are more than capable, I think we need to boldly accept and take the decisions that, if Ghana is going to go forward, it's going to depend on some of us going forward. And excuse me to say this, but God didn't bring you this far. God didn't expose you this far. God didn't prepare you this far, or made you capable this far. Just for you. I think life has a lot more to demand of us all than just ourselves. So, that's my encouragement to people who are capable, especially more women, to get into the process. There are lots of you who are capable. There are lots of you who have the ability. And I do think that you should give it a shot and try and make your mark. I was telling a friend's wife the other day that she had everything capable in her to run as an MP. And I do hope that one day she does run as an MP, because she's got everything, every capability to mobilize people, to speak on the behalf of the people in her community. And these are things that, some current MPs do not even do. And so, for people to have that, and she's a professional through and through, and for people to have that kind of capability, and rescind to the background, it's not going to push us further. And I think this is the level of sacrifice that um, we all have to engage in to collectively move this nation forward. Look, I have a huge belief in our capabilities as a people. Absolutely stunning belief in our capabilities as a people. I've seen Ghanaians in some of the most amazing positions in my work outside of this country and around Africa, and you just know. I used to have a European friend who always used to tell me, I see your people and the way they work with me, and I work with them and their capabilities, but I just cannot understand how, when it comes to the politics, you people get it, not too right. So we do have capabilities, and I don't think that we need to always step back and say politics is dirty and therefore we don't want to get involved in it. But the reality is that it is dirty because we have allowed people without the capabilities to go in there with their debt. Some of them, sad to say. And so, if we who feel that we know what is needed and what is the capability required, and we have them, then we should be going to some of these, environments and being the change that we do want to see. But anyway, that's all I have time to share with right now. So there's been lots of comments actually. Uh, uh, right. Okay, so I'm saying Canada has a double taxation system. I believe we have double taxation agreements with some countries, actually. Ghana, I mean. Moses, I remember sometime the EC website was down because they ran out of bandwidth. Oh God, that incident just killed every. Okay. Um, okay, that's been your experience. True Talk Live has a lot. Yeah. Uh, Rocky, thank you for joining us. Dennis, thank you for joining. Uh, Asaba, Dennis, you want to contribute into the industrialization process? Well, welcome on board. Um, yes, we do want to see an industrialization process happen for Ghana. I think one of the biggest things we've made a mistake of is that we've always considered industrialization to be the process of showing factories and machines working in factories. I do think that industrialization is much, much bigger than that in terms of in terms of in terms of what what needs to be. Okay. Oh, I didn't know I had turned this on. Isaac Adam is looking to be part of my broadcast. Okay, let's see how this works. I'm not sure how this works. I'm not sure if you know what you just done, but let's try it and see. So I'm adding Adam to, apparently I can add people to the broadcast. So somebody has requested to be in the broadcast. But basically what I was saying was that uh, being part of creating big agenda we want to drive. We have industrialization happening in technology, which is another agenda we want to drive. And indeed, we can have industrialization happening in other sectors of the economy. Isaac, welcome. I didn't know I had turned on that facility, and I didn't know I could actually do this. So I've learned something new today, Isaac. Isaac, welcome to the engagement. I'm gonna give you a few minutes to tell us what you have.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I think I've been watching your videos for quite some time. Let's say I am impressed with what you are doing, although I know it's a Herculean task you've taken upon yourself, and which is I commend you, and I love the words that you use that you said it's all for Mother Ghana. And once you are into this space, maybe you have the chance to be able to push the whole idea because look at all the parliamentarians campaigning. I've not seen any one of them talking about going to parliament to make laws. All of them are talking about things that is the work of a DCE. Okay. I don't know. And I wish the radio stations will ask these MPs. It's something we are missing. And which is why it makes it difficult. You said it rightly that we have left the politics for people with, excuse us to say, with some dirt to go in there. And so they make the whole politics dirty. You know, these are things, if we don't fine tune, I believe even if you put the best president there and the MPs don't know their role, the president is going to bulldoze their way over them. You know, so I would want you, once you've taken up this challenge upon yourself, it's great. There are so many of us who wish we could have an independent candidate, but even if you are to go there and you don't have the right parliament to support you, it's going to make the work difficult. And so this is something that I would want to push you. If you get the agenda, raise the topic. Let the MPs know their job is not to make roads, their job is not to clear gutters, their job is not to build hospitals. Their job is to make laws, to make all these things function in the society.
Mm,
You know,
mm, absolutely.
I read the history that they brought in the MPs Common Fund because people were not seeing any visibility. So because they wanted to get the visibility, they brought in the MPs Common Fund. That is not your job. That is not your job. So just want to say this. Just want to
Mm,
encourage you, give you all the best, and that when you get where to get a platform, draw people attention to some of these ills in our society. That we need the right people
mm,
in there to do the politics. If we leave it for people with excuses to say with the dirt, they go in and pick politics dirty, as you are saying. But I don't think Ghanaians are lacking. Just like you, I believe we have the capabilities. I believe we have the human resource that once we channel it in the right arena, in the right direction, trust me, it's for no reason that in sub-Saharan Africa, independence first. It is not. It is for no reason. It's for a particular reason, and this is something we've forgotten. Let me not talk much. Let me leave you. I'm following, and all the best.
Isaac, thank you so much. I genuinely do appreciate this. Thank you for sharing your light on some of those things, and I totally agree with you. I think we've mixed up the agenda for MPship, which is to make laws that create the environment for everything else to function. And over the years, it's rather moved to them being or assuming to be responsible for actual development when in fact they are not the points of contact for actual development work in the constituency. So it's something I cringe about when I hear MPs making promises that we know very well they do not have what it takes to deliver. Yes, they can lobby, but that's as far as they go. Lobbying is entirely different from being the operational person for making development happen in a specific constituency. So no, definitely a point that has been, and yes, you're right. I do hope that some of the media actually take on these points and query some of these people, because they do need to know that that is not where they stand. It's a sort of a flow back issue because that is what they've projected for so long. Constituents or citizens also have started to make those demands on them. And so you hear people saying, if the MP doesn't do this road, we are not voting for him. Meanwhile, it really is not his duty to do the road. He can lobby for the process, but it nevertheless is his duty to do those roads. So, no, very, very salient points you raised there. And thank you for the best wishes. We do have a lot of hope going forward for this agenda. And so, we'll see what happens in 2020 December, God willing.
Just one thing I was going to. Yeah. Sorry to cut you. One thing I was going to.
No, go ahead.
With this last point you made about, we creating the impression for the constituents. I think it is very true. We've created this impression. And if I had my way, I am going to go to every constituency and make a list of things that MP should promise me that when I go to MP, I'm going to cancel that ex gratia thing. When I go to Parliament, I'm going to use a public hospital. When I go to Parliament, my child is going to go to the public school. These are things we should demand of people going to represent us. But it looks like it's not going to happen because I have believed that now I live in Finland. And I tell you, the MP or the richest person in this country sits, the child or daughter sits in the same class with the poorest person in the country. You cannot enjoy something bigger than me paying tax. No, it doesn't work that way. So in that way, all of us will work to make the system right because no one is getting preferential treatment over the other. And these are things that I wish we push to our people, let our people understand that unless the MP feels they are using the same public transport as the local person, they will never make laws for the local person. No, they will make a change. No, they will make a change.
No, I totally agree with you on that. I don't think this should even just be at MP-ship level. I was sharing with somebody that I used to live not too far from the British Labour Shadow Minister for Business, Chuka Umunna, and we would go to the same pub with Chuka. We would, Chuka comes to the same grocery shops and buy his own groceries just like everybody else. And in the morning when we are going to work, he's on the same train as everybody else. The train is full. Nobody gets up for him to sit and, day stand. That's how basic, and this is a business minister, you would think, which is equivalent to a minister of trade and industry here, or even, trade and industry here. And so for me, it has always been quite remarkably shocking that we make so many gods out of ordinary men in this country, and therefore they begin to live like gods amongst us. And I hope to God that people understand some of us when we begin to shift some of these things. Somebody was asking me the other day, so would you have a convoy of 22 cars? And I've actually counted 12 convoys on one occasion. I'm sure people have counted more. And my response was, first of all, I don't believe, yes, let's have the security we need, but you generally don't need a convoy of 20-something cars just to get to one destination and come back, paid for by the public, the taxpayer, fueled by the public taxpayer. And I have been at what is it called, funerals, where people who came and were big men, so to quote, big men, their cars were parked and the engines were on and the air conditionings were on all through the funerals. And I said to myself, this is ridiculous, because these are going to be fueled by the taxpayer, and the taxpayer, some poor taxpayer, taxi driver whose money is part of fueling that, probably didn't have money on that very day to buy fuel to go to work. And yet here you are, your car is parked, air conditioning is running, and you're sitting in a funeral, and you're gonna come out, go straight into your air conditioning and walk away. And total disregard for, in my view, the essence of humanity, which is that everybody should benefit from the public cake. But no, Isaac, thank you so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate and I'm sure there's a lot to learn from and I have always had a lot to learn from the Scandinavian countries. I met one of the, I won't say which one, but I met one of the Scandinavian PMs in a conference, and that is the day it actually blew my mind. I think at the time, several years ago, it was Norway or so. And he actually sat on the floor with his laptop. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. This is unbelievable.
It's a normal thing. The president traveling to Russia, and the president joins the same public train that everyone uses. In Sweden, they have the mentality that you are a president, you are doing your job you are helping the country in a different role. If I am a cleaner, I'm helping the country in a different role. That doesn't make you bigger than me. We are all contributing our share. So it's a simple life.
Excellent stuff. Excellent. We've got some way to go, but I'm very confident we will get there. I think a lot of this can also be helpful when people see leadership doing some things by example. And therefore they learn from that process. But even that, it also gives leadership a moral right to actually demand the same of citizenry. And I feel it's because it's not being done at that level, there really is no moral right to even ask citizens to do same. So we've got a journey ahead of us, and I'm very confident that we will make that journey worthwhile. So. Again, big thank you, and all the best in Sweden. Is it you say?
Finland.
All the best with your Finnish compatriots. Yeah, and hopefully we'll see you here again sometime. Yeah, God bless you.
Thank you. All the best.
Yeah. Thank you. Cheers. Excellent. Okay. That's just a new version on there. So I mean, hopefully in the future we can do a lot more of this. I think there is a button there that allows you to request to be part of our video or part of our stream, and hopefully in the future you can also be a part of that process. But I will end it here for now. This is just my usual interaction with everyone on here. Hopefully you get to engage with me again during the week, and hopefully we get to talk about Ghana some more, and I'll be sharing bits and parts of how our campaign is going, the lessons we are learning along the way, and so you can also experience what we are experiencing in the process. This week I'm sure I'm going to be sharing quite a lot more about some of the experiences we find on the ground, some of the learnings that we're learning on the ground, and trust me, there's a lot more outside Accra and Kumasi. So if you do get a chance, do travel around as well for some local tourism, but also to immerse yourself in a beautiful country as ours. It's also as beautiful outside as it is engaging and enlightening. So do get out there sometimes. If you have a car, just drive out of Accra sometime. 2 hours, 1 hour. Just, you know, randomly go into a village or something. Just see, experience for yourself the life out there. I totally love it. I totally love it. I enjoy the local food out there because it's fresh. It's straight from the farm. Um, straight from the farm. My favorite is the fresh cooked cassava with the benku, the red oil, the zomi, the under the with pepper. They do those in the villages. You don't see them in Accra. So do get out there sometime. You know, get out there, experience Ghana. I mean, seriously, you know, get out there and experience Ghana in different ways than you would in Accra. You know. Moses, I actually have been to Tamale a series of times, a number of times, and I will be coming back to Tamale on this trip. So let's look out for each other. Hopefully, some tours of you will buy somewhere, and we'll go and do the do. I must say though that is it in Tamale? Yes, I think it's in Tamale. The red is a lot more nicer than the ones in Accra. Believe it or not. And they also have the Bambara beans. So you have a whole lot of choice in Tamale where beans is concerned for those who are beans fans. But that is just that is just me sharing other, you know, personal experiences on some of our engagements on the ground. But get out there, experience Ghana for yourself. But you know, hopefully we will engage again this week. And a big thank you to those of you who have been engaged in this agenda. A big thank you to those of you who have been supportive, who have been spreading the word, who have been fundraising, who have been doing everything to make this agenda happen. Even those of you who have been praying for us. The whole team is really grateful. Share not sauce with beans. So I've never actually tried that, Charles. Share not sauce with beans. No, maybe something I should try sometime. But no, a big thank you to everybody who has been supportive of this agenda. I really am grateful. The team is grateful. And like we always say, until we meet again, may the good Lord keep us in the palms of his hand. God bless you. And God bless our homeland, Ghana. Inshallah, we'll meet again this coming week. God bless us all. Charles, you seem fascinated about this share not sauce with. I'm yet to try share not sauce, so hopefully it's something I can do the next time I'm in. Excellent stuff. All right, here's where we end our show, guys. God bless you all for coming, and do have a lovely week. Yeah, every single one of you do have a lovely week. Much.